Alright, this is your laser cut tutorial, or some of it. It's kind of challenging going from Vectr, but we'll figure it out. So one thing that's a problem is you have text. Text won't transfer, so but I'll show you guys some stuff later. So I drew all this with the pass, and then this is the shape, two shapes. So I've got this like little graphic or whatever that I'm going to laser cut. So what you do is, once you're done, you go up to export, and you want to have an SVG, and then if you want to name your file, it's here, file settings, so you can name it, and then we'll export and just click download, and that will save the SVG. Then we're going to go to a program called Lightburn, and it has like a little like a dragon. And what this program shows is this is our laser table. So this is the width of our laser table. We might have to adjust some of this on each individual computer, so we'll just have to be patient with this. But whatever goes on here is technically what prints out. So you can do stuff like you can import images in here. You can draw shapes. So technically we probably could have drawn something in Lightburn first, but you guys don't have Lightburn on your home computers. So what I'm going to do is do File and Import, and I'm going to find my SVG file. So when I load this in, it just brings it in as lines, which is fine because that's what we're technically gonna. We want vectors. There's no colors. The laser printer doesn't have a color. So we have this, but what has happened up here is we have now all these layers and cuts. So this is dependent on what we are 3D print or what we're actually cutting. So we control the speed and the power and whether it's outputted or not. So one thing that I like to do to keep it manageable is I'll normally make a square. And because Lightburn is not an American program, it'll stay in millimeters. So up here we have, right now my rectangle that I just drew is dashed. So I'm going to make this 4, and I can type in inches, and the longest dimension that I want these to be is 4 inches at first. It's going to keep that rectangular shape unless I click the lock. So then I can put 4 inches down below. So this is a square that I want to keep. I want to keep my this inside of. So, and actually, you know, since we're not using very much of the 4, if you really wanted to max it out, I'm okay with you just squeezing this. But we just want to make sure we're not printing something like super big. So you can either delete this, or if you change the color of it, I'm going to change it to yellow. That will take that box and put it on its own layer, and I'm just going to unclick output, so the laser will not print that. Okay, now if we put this into like a piece of paper right now, or a piece of cardboard, if we print this out, we don't really have anything that will cut it out, so we need to make our cut line. So I'm going to use my line tool, and I'm just going to create a line that's just outside of my whole project. I'm going to go a little bit further down. And you can roll your mouse wheel to zoom. And I'll end it right there. So now this changed to that yellow color that we're not outputting, so I'm just going to choose a different color from here. So let's say red. That's not what I wanted. And we got to end our tool by going back to our arrow, and we want to select anything. So I want this one to stay yellow, but I want my line that I just made to be red. Okay. And why this one keeps changing, I'm just going to erase that because we know what size it is now. So now if we're cutting on cardboard, we kind of have to mess around with what the speeds are, and they're all different. So if we don't want to cut through the cardboard, I don't know what is blue. I guess that's blue. So I'm going to ungroup this. I think it all came grouped, so I'm going to ungroup and then change this to black. And I'm just going to try and delete this. That didn't delete anything. I don't know what that blue line was doing. Anyways, so the black line is going to be just engraved. So we're going to pick a really low power for that since we're doing this on cardboard first. So I double clicked on black and I'm going to change the speed to something fast like 60 millimeters per second, and then the speed is 10, and I need to change both of those. So make sure both those change to 10 and we'll keep it aligned. So I click OK. Now the red, we want this to cut through. So for cardboard, and I have a piece of paper in the back that will kind of list these speeds and powers depending on what we're cutting. So for red, we want to make sure this cuts. So I think 20 and then like a power of 20 should be good. So we'll do 20, 20. Click OK. Alright, so now this should, so it's going to draw everything that's black and then it's going to cut out what's red. So once we have it all done, there's a couple things we need to pay attention to down here. Our origin, that's going to be where it starts so we can either do it in the middle or we can do it at the left corner. That's up to you. You can change that. So that little green dot, that's where we're going to want to put the laser when we focus it, and then the rest of it will just go. So we're just going to keep center. I think that makes it easier. And so this is all ready to go. So now we'll do save RD file, and you'll save this onto a flash drive and then walk back to the laser, and I will teach you guys how to load your files in. So that's how it works.